Hey everybody, this is a projection created for the manufacture and sale of beanbag or cornhole on various platforms, whatnot, eBay, TikTok store. So this is a tool I use to determine the margins and cash flow required to sell something online. This is the baseline sales. So my opening projection has 150 units sold, increasing to up to 1,200 per month, 9,900 units in 1 year. So I've got estimated expenses of 71% of revenue, a margin of 29, and then I have in December the company volumes go up and we find a way to decrease costs, ending up with a 41% margin, variable overhead of 2% of sales, and fixed overhead of 5,000. That could be bay rent, whatever is required to generate that number of beanbag boards. Variable overhead would cover shipping and commissions, other items. You could do separate spreadsheets as you do research on a new company to figure out what these numbers actually are. This is the conclusion of the projection. Where will the business be in 12 months if we hit the assumptions and margins and quantities expected? So if everything on the other tab was true, we'd have 181,000 in cash, some receivables, no payables. So net income for the year would be $294,000. This is a projected income statement. Just the sales and margins we've talked about, plus or minus any interest on operating lines and term debt. I don't think this business would require term debt. Here's a cash flow statement. Closing cash right here is almost $51,000 in the hole that would have to be covered by a line of credit or a shareholder injection, all for the cause of having $180,000 of cash at the end of the year. Opening balance sheet is zero, so no receivables, no payables. The company will, manufacture, sell, ship, and I'm expecting the lag to be about 30 days. Not saying it would take a month to receive your September sales, but there'll be a lag there, and we will probably have to pay our expenses up front. So again, that gets us to $294,000 net income. Back to the revenue projection. So we could play with the price and the amount sold and the material expense and see if there's a better, as we learn more about what we're approaching, what the demand is, then we can see if this is a project worth pursuing. So baseline units, let's say we dropped to 200, but we charged $105 an hour. Less units, probably more margin, another $10. So I think before it was 28, we'd be making $28 a board. And now I've increased the price $10 with the same cost, so now it's $38. 36% margin that maybe can grow to $47. So then let's see where our projected balance sheet is after we change the price. $242,000 of profit, less than before, less production, maybe less fixed overheads. Maybe your costs don't drop that much because you're buying less material. So maybe this is 40 and 20 now. Drag that across. So, we've run two scenarios, one that made 294,000, one that made 218,000, and less production, lower margin, but maybe the demand, maybe there is not 9,900 boards a year to sell. Maybe 800 is reasonable. Everybody already has beanbag, and it's not that inventive, and there's not much excitement behind that game. But maybe there's 800 boards in North America to be sold, or 500 a month. Anyway, you have to, maybe the baseline is only 100, and to actually pursue the project, you need to charge 125. So I can tell net income is going to be around that $133,000, 144. It might be still worth pursuing if this is where demand actually lies. I'm sure AI could tell us how many beanbag boards are sold per year. Anyway, it's a tool to look at the margins, the pricing, what your expected demand is, and what kind of infrastructure you're going to put behind it if you're going to do it. That's why some projects are made to be in a garage and some need a shop and extra people. I tend to like 300 as baseline, 105 as a price. Lower costs. This is how I landed at, oh, I think we were $95. We landed at $295,000 profit. A lot of boards to make, but this is kind of where I think it would have to be to make sense to do. Thanks for watching.